is love? Let's take a peek. A little wild, a little chic. From heart to heart, it's quite the ride. Grab your snacks, we'll be your guide. Lolly-dabbing through this life with Richard and Keri, it's all delight. Loves a puzzle, loves a game. Let's dive in, no two the same. The romance, friends or family ties, a sunset glow, the starry skies. Moments fleeting, big and small. Turns out love might just be all. Lolly-dabbing through this life with Richard and Keri, it's all delight. Loves a puzzle, loves a game. Let's dive in, no two the same. Lolly-dabbing through this life with Richard and Keri, it's all delight. With Keri and Richard, love takes flight. Laughs and wonder, every hue. We're here to share it all with you. So hit play and join the fun. The love-filled journey's just begun. From silly to sweet, it's quite a view. Lolly-dabbing through with you, with you.
Hello.
So there we were. There we were. That was a little bit of a clumsy.
What if I crossed my leg and I put it up here on my knee, kinda?
Whatever you do to stop moving it. We're going to have to put a seizure warning on this one.
Just go take some Dramamine. Shut the hell up. It's hard to not move this thing because I'm used to it just sitting in its holder, but I don't have that here.
No, you don't have the holder. You packed too light, sir. You packed too light.
Well, I was trying an experiment. I brought a bunch of gear with me to try and go live and have an interface between here and there so I could use external microphone, instrument, that kind of stuff. That experiment failed. Does not work with the iPad. So...
strange. Weird. Watt Life joined us in the chat, and Chad Freeman's been in the chat. I'm sure Chad is working, so he's...
Chat? Oh my God, I don't even know how to see chat.
Listen, it's okay. Just sit there and look pretty. Just sit there and look pretty. We're just going to go with that.
There it is. Hi, Chad. Watt Life.
What's life got to do with it, I guess, or something. At some point I'm going to have to find my cigarettes because apparently I have empty packs around me, but not my, anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. So today we are talking about, moments of love or, Robbie, the Beaver Fever is here.
Beaver Man.
Talking about moments of awe in our life, or just the moments where you just feel connected, or just love of your just being here now. I guess is
absolutely
one of the best ways I can think of explaining it. Moments of awe, if you will.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you start this one this week, though.
Yeah. So moments of awe to me is like that moment, like when you're walking the dog first thing in the morning and you see the sunrise and there's nobody else around, and you hear the birds tweeting, and all of a sudden you just like, somebody once said sunrises are like secrets because very few people experience them. And I love that. And to me, catching a sunrise, especially sitting by the water of some sort, on the flip side of it, like wading in water under the moon also kind of does the same sort of thing to me. Like when there isn't another human around, and I'm feeling very connected with humanity and nature, and I feel big and small at the same time. I don't know how else to explain it, but
absolutely.
like you feel huge, but just microscopic.
Yeah.
Like you just cannot believe that you are a part of the fabric that is life and this world. And
100%
those are
agree.
Those are good moments. I love those moments. A lot of people get them on mountaintops. Sometimes when I used to snowboard, it's kind of those moments where you're zipping down the mountain by yourself and
Yep.
you're experiencing these moments.
That's for me when I ride. That's exactly that. When it's weird. People say, "Well, you're so hyper sensitive to the road, to hazards, what might be up ahead, yada yada yada." How can you just relax? I don't know. But when I get on the bike and I'm just riding, it's
Yeah.
it's just like that. It's peace.
Yeah, it's flow. It's just being, yeah, it's being peaceful. I do feel like that driving.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the moments that I'm driving, but there is those times where the sun is just right and there isn't, too much traffic and you're just driving. I usually have like a podcast or a story or something on, but some people it's music and you're just like you're paying attention, but you're not doing. You're
Yeah.
just being.
You're just being.
You're
Yeah.
just being. Robbie says he felt like that when he stood up after not being able to for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that's true too. Like that's just that moment of like I
Yeah.
forgot how much I needed this. Or like speaking of falling, like I've like cut the bottom of my foot before and you walk funny for a really long time and then
Oh,
when you
yeah,
finally
yeah.
like are able to step on it right, you're just like, "Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes.
I missed
100%.
being able to walk correctly."
Yeah.
It is those kind of moments where you just kind of feel like, oh, all is right. you know, and then there's those moments, I mean, like Robbie says, realizations like that can go both ways. It's, they can make you feel big and small in like a positive way, but those are also moments too that can just make you feel very profoundly sad.
Sure. Yeah.
Where you really realize how delicate life really is, and how which makes you feel alive, but also it's not the expansive sort of feeling. It's more of a shrinking,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
feeling foolish or gullible or feeling like unsure, I guess would be how I would describe it.
Foolish, gullible. Yeah. Robbie's
Yeah.
right on the same page. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it goes both ways, but I think both things are very much connected to the love of being human. I think without those experiences, there is no humanity. In an
Right.
individual sense or in a greater sense, and I think that it is one of the things that. I mean, I guess we don't know if animals experience it.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't. We don't know. But I think the fact that we're able to communicate about it and talk about it is what makes us pretty uniquely human and is part of
Yeah.
like you love it or hate it. And I choose to love it
Mhm.
because even in the moments of being foolish or gullible or feeling small or scared or feeling, expansive or awestruck, those are all integral to being.
Yeah. I think that sorrow and love and pain are very intricately entwined a lot of times.
Really bittersweet. When I was getting, I don't want to say getting counseled. When I was talking to somebody who had a pretty decent amount of experience at a therapy school and helping people with her own grief and other things, she called me out once for smiling while I was talking about some pretty tragic feelings that I was having about losing my dad.
Oh,
And she
that's
was
weird.
like, yeah, she's like, your face, you're like smiling, your face doesn't match like the emotion that I'm hearing you say. You're like, what's going on with that? And I'm like, it's called bittersweet. I'm feeling
You're-
very bittersweet. I'm smiling about the memory but sad about the loss
Yes. Yeah.
simultaneously. We are complex creatures, we can experience. And it was very shocking to me and it made me go, how many more people in like professional communities really want us to distinguish,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, oh, you'll come here to see us. Thank you,
Well,
Robbie.
thank you. Appreciate that,
We
brother.
appreciate
Appreciate
that a
that.
lot. Um, and so like I think that even professional, mental health care people, um, language is so imperfect, and we really want to be able to compartmentalize things. And I
Yeah.
think in some ways it's necessary to be able to address things. But I think that, and actually, this is a really good segue to talk about what we're going to talk about next month, which we're going to do 7.5 lessons about your
Yes.
brain. We're going to do a book review. It's fine if you don't have the book because I'm
Believe it or
going to
not,
add.
folks, that was actually my suggestion before she did. So,
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
But
weird.
I've been thinking about it, and
Uh,
even if you don't have access to the book, I'm going to throw up links
I do.
to.
I signed up for Audible. It's,
Yeah,
I
but
have
I'm
it.
talking
So
about our viewers. If our viewers don't have access to the book, I'm going to
I
put up.
should be able, when we do this on the computer, I should be able to share whatever we're talking about as far as passages. People can read them while we're talking.
Oh,
So,
that would be cool. I didn't
yep.
know about copyrights, how that worked, but
We're
we're not.
discussing something. We're taking pieces of a
We just can't.
teaching.
Yeah, we
Right.
can't. We
We are
can't
giving
repeat.
full credit. The links will be there, all that
Yeah,
stuff. So yeah,
and,
there
and
won't
and
be a
links to her
copyright
interviews
infringement.
and stuff. I
Yeah.
think you can. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just
Um,
talking about her. This is not us being her. We are not
Yes,
professionals.
yes, yes. We are not going to do a full audiobook download, reading out loud of the
Nope.
book. But where was I going with that? There was a segue there.
It was the segue was into the next month's topic.
Oh, right, right. Um, but I don't remember what it was now.
Darn it.
There was
And
a
I'm just
segue, but now it's gone
I tried to bring it back. I
in the
failed.
ether. That's all right. It doesn't matter. It is what we're going to be doing next month. We're going to be talking about. Oh, I remember.
There it
Okay,
is.
so like how metaphors or using analogies to explain how your brain works is imperfect because a lot of times brain analogies become what we imagine the architecture or the way our brain actually works.
Makes sense. That'll be
And
fun.
and and it's not that's not how it is. It's just a way to try to create a visual, but that's
Hmm.
the visual or the analogy is not the architecture.
Nope. And you
And
guys
so,
should know
yeah.
that I've listened to this book twice, but not really like paid attention to it. I've just had it playing in the background. So as we're going through this, I'm going to be learning right along with everyone else because this is an area that Carrie has explored
A
much,
little,
much, much, much more
little
than
bit.
I have yet.
A little. I mean,
Let's
okay, a
just say
lot.
that.
I
So,
put I put some hours in. I put some hours
uh,
in. I actually read her thicker book, The Science of Emotions, which is quite fascinating as well. I haven't. It's not as punchy. It's definitely a little bit more scientific.
hey, Nana,
Hi,
welcome.
Tea and Nanas, welcome. Um, no, the Falcrow is not
I
going to
miss
read us to
reading to
sleep,
my
Chad.
kids. I do miss reading to my kids. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I love about Audible is because I love being read to.
Mm.
I love, love, love it.
Oh yeah, it's hard for me to listen because it puts me to sleep as well. It just especially if the voice is in at the right tone where I don't have to have it loud to understand the words.
Yeah, there's something about a British book that I mean, and I love them. Like, so I always
Oh
have to
yeah,
really, I have to be
absolutely.
careful. I have to set my sleep timer, otherwise that book will go all the way through.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But
kind of crazy sometimes.
I was actually okay. So I'm looking up. Back to the topic for today. I was looking.
Yes.
I have a playlist about awe somewhere that I came across the other day. I have these really great ADD playlists where I start with like one thought and then I come across other things that pop up in my stream and then I start putting them onto that playlist. And
Oh,
so then I have these
interesting
mishmashes.
idea. That's a good use of
No,
playlist.
it's really terrible. I have no less than 700 playlists. Um,
Oh yeah, well, if you got that many, yeah, that's a problem.
it, and like you never know what's in them. There's just like
Rather why I don't ever look at my liked videos
Oh, right.
file or
God,
my
so many.
but there's another one I don't look at that it's just so flooded with stuff I've already seen. Excuse
Well,
me.
okay, so this is like an hour long podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you to Jason Silva, Shots of Awe. He's a futurist, a storyteller, filmmaker, keynote speaker, and then he's Jason Silva on all the socials and whatnot. And these are he does like 9 or 10, just like short minutes of one. I haven't watched this one yet. I'll share it because it's adventure versus long-term relationships, and it's about a 4-minute clip. Again, like he puts a lot into these pretty short. They're like short cinematic movies. They're pretty cool. So I recommend going and finding Jason Silva, Shots of Awe. They're just great short things to make you think.
Like watching a short on YouTube.
It is, but it's a little bit longer, and because he's a filmmaker, he tends
Some
to
of the
try
stuff
to do
I
a little-
watch, anything under an hour is short.
right. I mean, to be fair, but he's let me up my let me get my quality up. Whenever I'm singing karaoke, I tend to turn it way down. So, well, we'll see. This I haven't watched this one. This one doesn't look like some of the other ones I've watched, but we're gonna just roll with it because that's what we do. We just roll with things. That feeling you were talking about before, Robbie says that he gets it every day after he writes a song. And I do it. You know, um, I don't hate you for it. And I would really hope that most people embrace the creativity and the appreciate the fact that writing a song gives you that moment, Robbie. Because it's not about the song, it's about that feeling at the end of writing it.
Absolutely.
And I firmly believe that people who create, it's about that feeling of, I did that for me.
Yeah.
That I think is really, really, really important.
You listening, Robbie? All right.
All right. Here we go. Adventure versus long-term relationships. Will love last?
You know, for the longest time, my inner life has been in turmoil. There's been a battle between my desire for novelty and adventure, for endless adventure and novelty, and also my desire for communion, my desire for love, my desire for marriage, my desire to soulmate. Because there's nothing, obviously, that I want more than to mate souls with someone, right? To create a life world together, to raise children together, to make life with together, the kind of union, soulful, spiritual, and embodied union that might heal us of our fractures and might allow us to grow and develop in ways we cannot even fathom. I'm looking for that part, and I long for that with a kind of aching ferocity, right? It's something that is missing from my life, yet simultaneously my desire to soar through the sky like a bird, to be free as a bird, to adventure endlessly, to explore forever, right? There's this desire for otherness, for a whisper of a thrill, right? And I'm chasing novelty. I'm chasing the edge of the horizon and finding a way for those worlds to intermediate, to find each other has been quite difficult. My love of novelty has felt like a threat to many of my lovers. It has made them fear that I wouldn't be there for them always, because eventually I'd grow bored and I'd want to soar and escape the trivialities of the everyday. There was a terror of the holiness of the sacred union fading, right? There's this idea that routine deadens everything. And so you find the one, you fall in love, you get married, and then you feel like you're in a prison. There's always been this anxiety about the imprisoning effects of habit and that you might grow tired of a person. There's something called hedonic adaptation. And so that's the problem, because you want union, but then hedonic adaptation says that eventually you'll just grow tired and trapped and restless with this person, or at least that's the fear. And that's what happens to so many people. They no longer are able to see each other. Meanwhile, the search for novelty and the search for adventure is always about blasting our eyes and blasting our hearts open, right? The thrill of something new, to travel beyond the horizon, always jolts us into awakenness, awakening. And so this desire to have both elements, right? To have the thrill, to have the incandescent and effervescent thrill of adventure and novelty, and yet to not lose sight of the glories to be found in intimate commitment and communion, in building a home and planting a garden with someone, in making someone part of your everyday, part of your life world. This is equally important. And they say you can't have it all, but I think what constantly jolts and agitates me is this desire not to compromise for one or the other, but actually to find both, right? To find a partner, that I can actually soar together with, that we can endlessly explore together with. And
I'm going to pause it there because those are some great thoughts.
Agreed. And it's hard for me to hold this thing upright and not wiggle it around. I'm just going with the little creepy portrait that I found on my iPad.
Yeah, it's super creepy, but okay.
Yep.
We'll just have the voiceover. So, what were your thoughts about that?
Wow. There's for a 4-minute clip, there's a lot to digest there, but I think for me, it is, I don't want to say my adventuring days are done, but it's not as much of a priority as it was at one point in my life.
Well, I think there's adventuring of the mind.
Yeah.
Like seeking novelty and adventure in thought.
Adventuring, but yeah, I see where you're at.
Yeah, no.
Hello, Indy.
Because I'm at the age where my adventuring, I'm obviously not sporty and spry like him. But there is a lot of thought adventures that I go on, or rabbit holes I dive down, just for the sheer novelty of learning about them. Not because it's applicable, not because it's a wise use of my time, but because it's just novel to think about. And I think that finding a partner to try and share that with you as well. And really that's what I would say to him. If I had the opportunity, I would be like, listen, you can plant a garden and have wild conversations, you can I think you can have both. But then to push back against the sort of idea of mundanity of daily sort of habitual processes that you kind of have to embody when you are living with somebody, which it's one of the reasons why me and my partner, I don't think live together yet, is because we are both still sort of finding, we both still adventure.
Makes sense.
In our own ways, even if it's not obvious to the outside world. We kind of have this exploration of ourselves that we're continuing to do, that may not facilitate having somebody in our area all the time, because when we are together, we do kind of fall into those habits of living. But I think both are beautiful, and I think that without that sort of stability, it does make it harder to let go. So I think that there is freedom in stability, and I'm still trying to figure out how to make that happen, because I am one of those that thinks it has to be, that thought for a really long time it has to be both or
Yes.
either or, and trying to tie together both is really difficult, and I've
Same.
frozen.
My hand is raised. I am guilty thus as well.
Well, what do you the chat? We had some more new people join us in the chat.
Yeah, I
Indy
saw
showed
Dirk
up.
came in.
Dirk came in. Yeah.
Chad and Indy is out there trying to scrooge back through it, see if I'm missing anybody. Of course, we got
Yeah.
Nana still here and Rick Chad's still here.
Yeah.
I think
What do you guys? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, anybody out there want to chime in? We'll wait a minute. I mean, we
Yeah.
can kind of, is this a better picture so I'm not creeping the kids out?
It is a little better.
All right.
It's a little bit more on brand. Way to be.
It's well, I just thought I'd promote the brand a little bit.
There you
Since this started as a joke and it has now become this show. I think that's kind of neat.
I mean, that is. I think that as things should. Well, I mean, it's not about worrying about it, Robbie. You go on an adventure every time you write a song.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm gonna push back against your
Thank
I'm
you.
old, I don't do anything fun.
I like you so much, Keri.
Like I'm just gonna poke the beaver a bit.
That's okay. I poke the beaver all the time, don't I, brother?
and really try to get you to think about how adventure is a mindset too.
Yes.
For us folks who aren't skydiving
Yep,
or mountain biking
Dirk said
or
it right
climbing
there in the
Everest
chat.
or
It's a mindset. It is a mindset.
and you go into adventure every time you take us on a musical journey. So, poke beaver alert.
Yep.
Do we need to put a content warning on this, Dirk?
Poking beaver alert. Yeah, I guess that did sound kind of bad if you're only listening.
Yeah, right.
But everybody here knows the context because Robbie's the beaver man.
He is. And if you don't know the context, go back, watch some shows, go to Robbie's channel, you'll figure it out.
Yep. And don't worry if you don't find something you like, just go to one of the other 10,000, I think, videos he has on there. He'll tell you the number in a minute. Because I love him for that. Yes.
Dirk says that's what happens when he's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels like it. I think that's part of my awe with driving too. Is even if I'm driving to a place I've already been, it's there is something about it.
Yeah, driving is driving, riding is riding. For me, standing on the beach, when the beach is quiet, it doesn't have to be deserted, but when it's just quiet and it's not pouring down rain, the wind's not trying to sand your face off, and you can just sit there and be on the sand. It's that same big and small feeling at the same time. Small in that I am sitting at the end of a landmass and there's nothing in front of me except water for the next 3,000 or 4,000 miles, depending upon which way I head.
Right.
And that makes me feel very small, but at the same time,
on top of the world.
Yes, because I'm connected to something so immense. And that's only our world. When I start thinking in universal terms, it even gets better.
When I lay on the back and stare at the stars, you know how sometimes when you look at the stars, you see they're like points of light that are big and small on like a flat screen, right? But when you stare at them for long enough, you realize that that's actually spatial. And you realize that that's time and space in between those points of light, and it becomes like very much 3D, like staring at I was never good at those magic eye things, but staring at the stars is about as close as I could get, because there's a certain amount of staring that gets me to this point where I'm like, oh,
It's like those
that's
pictures
close,
in pictures.
that's far away.
Same kind of thing. You adjust your focus to a different set of lines on the picture, and
it feels
now
different.
The previous
It hits
picture
differently.
disappears and becomes background in detail for the new picture you're seeing, and they're both there at the same time. It just depends on how you focus it.
Absolutely. And
I love stuff like that.
I actually found the awe. This one was actually the one I was kind of looking for when I stopped at the other one.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's from 11 years ago. Oh, now my shit's all frozen. Hold on. Hold that thought, everybody. Wow, my computer catches up.
Oh, spinning, spinning. Your audio is fine though. We can
Oh,
hear you fine.
good, because I'm frozen and then it won't let me click on my share thing. So.
Yeah, yeah. We're your audio is perfect. So
Good. Well, we'll just keep rambling then.
yep.
Robbie ate the poking stick
Ate
that
the
we were poking
poking
at.
stick.
Robbie.
That's what beavers do. They
That's
eat
what
the
beavers do.
wood, or they
Speaking of
chew on it.
beavers, I had and moments of awe. There's this beach that I take my dogs down to walk, and there's this tree that kind of comes kind of out of the hill that my dog can actually run up on, and I was just having the best time because this last winter fall time, some beavers got to it and have cut down some substantial trunks, like because it's one of those trees that's obviously been around for a while, so it's got like the big like multiple sort of branch trunk things going on.
Right, right.
And I thought of you, Robbie, when I looked at it and I saw the work that the beaver had done, because it was just so like it's all these little bite marks on this like really massive like like
Yep.
6-inch round, 8-inch round, stump.
Another
that was
moment of awe or realization, however you want to say that. It still tracks.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
I might have to refresh. If I drop back for a second, that's why.
hey,
All
your
right.
your face is not all right. She's doing the thing, and now I'm just eats Home Depot. Yeah, there's a lot of wood there. A lot of wood in the Home Depot. I hope everybody is having a great day. I
Eats Home
myself am
Depot.
having a great day. Are you there? Hello. Oh,
I'm
look,
here.
your face
I'm
is
back.
moving and everything. That's
I know.
awesome.
It's amazing. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, clearly
Okay.
you found your cigarettes.
I
Awesome.
did.
No one
Well,
has to die today.
I was like, this is great. 4 minutes. I'm going to go find my smokes. Listen, they're my thinking sticks, if nothing else.
Yep.
All right. So this is 2 minutes, 48 seconds. It's about awe. Again, it's from that same channel, Jason Silva, Shots of Awe.
So I think a lot about the contrast between banality and wonder, between disengagement and radiant ecstasy, between being unaffected by the here and now and being absolutely ravished emotionally by it. And I think one of the problems for human beings is mental habits. Once we create a comfort zone, we rarely step outside of that comfort zone. But the consequence of that is a phenomenon known as hedonic adaptation. Overstimulation to the same kind of thing, the same stimuli again and again and again, renders said stimuli invisible. Your brain has already mapped it in its own head, and you no longer literally have to be engaged by that. We have eyes yet see not, ears that hear not, and hearts that neither feel nor understand. There's a great book called The Wondering Brain that says that one of the ways that we elicit wonder is by scrambling the self temporarily so that the world can seep in. Henry Miller says even a blade of grass, when given proper attention, becomes an infinitely magnificent world in itself. Darwin said attention, if sudden and close, graduates into surprise, and this into astonishment, and this into stupefied amazement. That's what rapture is. That's what illumination is. That's what that sort of infinite comprehending awe that human beings love so much. And so how do we do that? How do we mess with our perceptual apparatus in order to have the kind of emotional and aesthetic experience from life that we render most meaningful? Because we all know those moments are there. Those are the moments that make final cut. Only in these moments we experience afresh the hardly bearable ecstasy of direct energy exploding on our nerve endings. This is the rhapsodic, ecstatic bursting forth of awe that expands our perceptual parameters beyond all previous limits, and we literally have to reconfigure our mental models of the world in order to assimilate the beauty of that download. That is what it means to be inspired. The Greek root of the term means to breathe in, to take it in. We fit the universe through our brains, and it comes out in the form of nothing less than poetry. We have a responsibility to awe.
really
Your
that's what
movie. There you go.
that's really what I want to like hammer home with what I want to really kind of take this show is these even in the little things like making food or looking at a blade of grass or
Hmm.
we cannot just always take those things at their face value. We have
Absolutely
to
true.
decide to see the fact that we created something from molecules and atoms that we're going to put into our bodies that's going to nourish us, that's going to take us to the next day. It's not just a chore,
Yeah.
it's a creation of something that then alchemizes inside of us into something else that we can then take forward, you know.
Hmm.
And I think that, you know, we can't spend, you know, every meal like I think perceptualizing in like these crazy sort of ways with all his words and stuff, you know. But I think every once in a while, just allow those things to hit you, to really hit you, and just be amazed by them.
Yeah, I agree.
Be amazed by the fact that you can turn on a light switch and there's light. Be amazed that you can turn a thermostat up and you are warm.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but
Absolutely.
I have lived without those comforts, you know, where it was a task to be warm, where I had to
Hmm.
start a generator to have light, where I had to, you know, and it's amazing, and I try not to ever take that for granted. On the flip side of it, I also like to turn off all my lights and light a candle and think about how amazing it is that just this little flickering light is only illuminating the small space
Hmm.
and the simplicity of that.
Yeah.
So Robbie is amazed that you are a throbbing orb.
Mm. Well, I like being a throbbing orb, so it helps
Way to
when you
make it
like
dirty,
what you
guys.
do.
Way to make it dirty. But just I mean, like people in the chat. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on like how would you go forth through your week if you just spent a few minutes every day just geeking out over something little,
Well,
something
I,
that you
I,
do all the time that you take for granted.
well, sunrise, for example, my apartment faces east, which I didn't really realize when I moved there, but it faces east, and that's my picture window. Out the front of my apartment, and out there is a parking lot, but also is the eastern sky, and it's a great open view of the sky. So I have a really good view of the
In a way, if you're going to live in a
sunrise.
city, a parking lot facing east with your window is one of the best places to be because you do get to actually see the horizon. It is
Yeah,
a space
yeah,
before you
exactly.
meet the buildings or the trees or whatever's at the edge of that space. I love that for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's that. I get that feeling. I've stayed up a couple of nights singing all night, and then realized, oh, sun's coming up, and they've been great sunrises. They've been
Yeah.
amazing to see. So exactly what you were talking about in your metaphor for the beginning is something I have experienced recently
Yeah.
and can continue to do
Sunrises are
so.
like secrets that only you have.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to experience the same sunrise as you.
Well, I always keep in mind too that that same sunrise is seen by millions of people, but it doesn't mean or look the same to any of those people.
Yeah. I have to kind of seek a sunrise. And so I love it when I can get up and take my dog out and go down by the river. And it's kind of a late sunrise down by the river just because of how the mountains and stuff are. But sometimes I get on the highway and I'll drive like up to a couple of points
Hmm.
that get the sunrise a little bit earlier. And I don't know, I think, let me see, one of my avatars is one of those moments. Oh, it's this one right here. So if I stop my camera, you can see me and my dog were sitting
Uh,
there, and that was a just after sunrise.
Clearly a
Early,
beautiful
early
day too.
early summer. Yeah, the moon
Yeah.
was right up above us, and it was one of those fantastical moments, and we're just she's just sitting there, and
Yep.
Zora in and of itself. Sometimes I look at my pet and I have that moment of awe, like just look at you.
Hmm.
You're just this little furry critter who just depends on me, but loves me, but also would find her way in the world if it weren't for me. You know?
Yes.
you know, and
Danger, danger. There's danger at Keri's. There's somebody's here. Somebody's here. Hey,
no,
Keri,
somebody is
somebody's here.
walking up the
Somebody's here.
stairs in our
Some
general vicinity. They just they don't. Damn it. I love the moment, like today when I went to work, like every previous week, because I only work mornings 2 days a week. And every previous morning when I go to work has been dark. And this morning, like the sun, like was up
It's
over the.
slowly coming back the other way now.
God, and
Yay.
it made me so freaking, it was so hard for me to stay in the building after I got there. I was like, I gotta go
Yeah.
check stuff outside. I'm gonna take these rags out to the storage.
Easy to
I'm gonna
stay
go
in
grab-
here. It's been
I'm gonna
dumping
take these
rain
boxes
for 2
out.
days.
Like nothing's going on in here. I'm gonna go watch the sun climb into the sky. I mean, I absolutely love even working, you know, some people are like, oh, I'm up with the sunrise to go to work. And it's like, yeah, but it's so magical to be the first person
But we
into a
forget
space.
that. I think we forget that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest point that needs to be driven home about this right here is that you need to have that ability to understand the magic that is around you. And magic is a metaphor here. Magic can be anything. The Bic lighter that you just used to light your cigarette, or the lights that
Yeah.
you turned on your car to see the road ahead of you.
Yeah.
All those things are magical. Doesn't have to be a big event.
I was reading Robbie's comment, which is why I got quiet. Yeah, but I mean, yes, that, I mean, metaphorically speaking, sunrise is the birth of life. But I think it's really important to keep in mind that while we're kind of in this high noon of life, or afternoon of life, depending on where you are,
Yep.
you have to see the beauty in that too, and the subtle changes in that. Like, my dog found a squeaky toy. That's her joy. That's her happiness.
Just waiting for it to happen again.
Yeah, she's. Anyway, you know, there's days where you can see the moon in the sky at noon.
Sure.
You know,
Sure. Those are some of my
and-
favorite days. I like to see
or
the moon
like
out in
the
the daytime.
juxtaposition of like a stormy day compared to the bluest blue skies. You know, you can't just live life from sunrise to sunset. You know, and think of it as beginning and ending. It's
Yeah.
each hour, each moment has its moment
I
and
agree with
potential
Dirk
for
that
awe.
sunset for one is a sunrise for another. It always is. That's the thing that just keeps going around.
And I really encourage people to get into the minutia, get into the nuance of that. I mean, we can really address this with platitudes and statements of generality, but like spend your next week, depending on where you are, like looking for that blade of grass that is turning green amongst all the other ones, and really marvel at what it takes. I don't know. I'm always at amazement every year. So the first year I was at the apartment, I planted like planters that had flowers and morning glories and stuff in it. And ever since then, I haven't really planted planters, but there is morning glory seeds that have spread themselves, and they're volunteers.
They do that
know?
they do that very, very well.
They do. And I think about like plants that, like, every time a plant that kind of grows through adversity. I was working at this place where somewhere I have a picture of this petunia, and I don't love petunias. I think they're like kind of basic bitch of flowers, right?
Sure.
But there's this petunia that would grow up between the crack in the sidewalk and the cement wall.
Yeah.
And I would just look at that petunia and just be like, fucking A.
Exactly.
And they would weed whack it down, and like a couple days later, this little petunia would come back up again.
Yeah, that's
Jesus.
the minutia that you're describing, and what we all tend to forget about. Yes.
We have to look for it. It doesn't just happen. Like
Yep.
the big moments happen. If we're not careful, we'll just keep pushing for the next big moment, you know, and your general trajectory of life, you know, you turn 16, you turn 18, you turn 21, you get married, you have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. But it's the moments that are in between that I think really change our lives.
Yeah,
And
I
they don't
agree.
have to be big moments to change our thoughts and to change how we feel and to really break open our perception of self and our perception of others. And I think that the more we can look for the commonalities in others that we have, even seemingly disparate other people,
Mm-hmm.
the more we're going to be able to embrace the ick and embrace the unusual and the unprecedented and the things that divide us. If we can acknowledge what divides us and remember that every person has to take in a breath.
Yep.
Every person comes in contact with grass
Yep.
or a
Hello,
plant
Jimmy.
of some
Welcome.
sort.
Cheers.
Yeah, welcome, Jimmy C. But yeah, and I'd love to hear from people next week too. What was your moment of awe for this last week?
That'd be neat. Yeah, if you're going to participate and do that, that'd be cool. I would like to see the
I
chat's
I want to
responses to
know.
that.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
and now that I've planted the seed, I'm hoping that people will have more moments of awe than they expected,
Yeah.
because they're stopping and slowing down long enough to be able to look at things
Yep.
and feel things from like the mundanity of day to day life. Fish always blow my mind. Plants blow my mind.
Right.
Clouds blow my mind. Trees blow my mind. Mushrooms blow my mind. Not
Hmm.
taking them, but rather how they
Right.
grow.
How they grow,
Mushrooms,
where they
moss.
come from.
Like when you look at like moss,
Hmm.
do you know how hard it is for moss to reproduce? Like I always get
Hmm.
so sad when people disrupt rocks with moss on it. Cause I'm like, do you know how
Hmm.
long it's gonna take for that moss to grow
Yeah.
back? Like it has to be just the perfect moisture when the wind has to blow and it's so hard.
Yep. I
And yet
agree.
it does it. It does it. I was listening to a podcast today about it's called The Weirdest Thing I Learned This Week, but the guy on it was a paleontologist or something, and he was talking about like places like New Zealand where there is such a delicate ecosystem of like a particular bat is
Hmm.
the pollinator for a particular plant, and if one or the other gets upset, like they have to either radically adopt or fade away as well. And it's just we always hang in such a balance.
Yep.
Everything we do, everything we see, everything we touch, everything has been created by a thought or by magic. And by magic
Hmm.
I mean by the perfect interception of energy and matter.
Yep.
And that's magic. That's magic to me. It's magic.
I
It's not about
absolutely
waving.
agree.
Yeah, it's not about waving a magic wand. It's about the conditions being just so. The conditions for you and I to be the humans that we are, to have lived the lives that we have lived. I know, I know. She's the rhythm section,
Hmm.
the squeaky rhythm section. But just for us to be who we are in this conversation, not only like the DNA of who we are as humans, but then you add in our like experiences and then our perceptual intelligence about those experiences and then the activity that results from those is like one in a gazillion. Like I forget what the actual number is, but for
A lot.
this moment to happen is so striking,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's so orchestrated yet coincidental, and I love that. I love that
Hmm.
nothing is coincidence, but everything is a coincidence. Like
Yep. And in the same breath, I'll say that I believe everything happens for a reason. Sometimes we know what the reason is, and sometimes we don't.
yeah,
And
and that
that's
reason isn't always something that's shiny happy.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Sometimes we're not meant to feel amazing.
Yeah.
And I think there's place in this world for all of the sensations.
Hmm.
And from nihilism to moments of awe, I think it is the nuance of the human condition, and I think that's really quite important. I was gonna look. Okay, so next week we're coming up on 50 minutes. Let's talk a little bit about next week. I'm gonna pull up my thing and see if there's names to these chapters. But I was kind of my thoughts were, Falco, that we were gonna do two. Because it's 7.5 lessons about your brain. We
Right.
do lessons 1 and 2 on the first week, 3 and 4 on the second week, 5 and 6, and then 7.5.
Yeah.
And really kind of spread it out across that.
Well, that works for me. I think that's a great idea. And that breaks it up into something that fits the time slot. So we'll
Yep.
have the new thing for April after that.
Yep. Again, so we're going to be doing discussions around the book 7.5 Lessons About the Brain by Lisa Feldman Barrett. It's about a 3-hour and 53-minute book. It's broken into 7.5 chapters.
They're pretty easy to digest.
Yeah. It's
There will be no chainsaw juggling. Nope. No chainsaw juggling. I'm lucky I get a hold of my fork. Okay, so we're not gonna.
I think forks are overrated. I eat with my fingers most of the time.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I really am that.
Me too.
Moral judgments,
I am. Oh, stop.
language, empathy,
Stop.
and more.
Undo. Okay. I'm trying to look at the chapters. I don't want to listen to it all right now.
Function,
Oh, stop
though
it.
a neuron may be more likely to contribute to some functions than others.
Anyways, it's really cool because it's about the now it's just reading it. Now I can't find where to turn off. Shush. Anyway, I love Lisa Feldman Barrett because like we can talk about these sort of intangibles, sensations, feelings, emotions in a really like non-physical way. And I really enjoy that she really kind of tries her best to take it from a non-physical to like a scientific sort of space, but in a really digestible way, which is why I
Right.
think that it's such an impactful book because she breaks it down and talks in a way that's very understandable. And she'll even say like that book took her longer to write than The Science of Emotions, which was a little bit more in depth and more technical because in order to give credence to how our brains work in a way that is as monumental as how our brains work, and leave space for more knowledge to come and not have it be like this is the end.
Mm-hmm.
This
She breaks
this
it
is
down into pretty
the
good
way.
bite-sized chunks. too,
Bite-sized
so.
chunks, but leaves room for that expansion, for that wondering, for that to be added to. Like this is not the end all be all. This is just our current state of understanding.
Right.
And not only that, but this is my current state of understanding, and this is how I got there, sort of way. And I think that that's really important. And brains are only for dinner if you're a zombie, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
And we accept all types, but also
Yes.
that's not what we're eating.
I feel like chicken tonight. Like chicken tonight. Oh.
Right. If one planet orbits, it's altered. It's all balanced. I gotta put that on the screen. It is. It's all, the entire universe may crumble, or it may not. It may wobble and then re-establish its balance.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And the
We don't
reality
know.
of it,
We don't
the
know.
truth of it, we don't know. We can think or hypothesize, but we do not know what will
We don't
happen. But there's nothing wrong with you making that statement in itself. It is a valid statement.
Yeah, I mean, the universe as we know it may crumble, but that may not mean that the end of existence, right?
Right. A new universe may be created from that.
A different one that
Yep.
we may not exist in, but that does not mean that it will not continue in some way, shape, or form. You know, and I think that that's also a pretty heady concept there.
Yes, tis. Oh,
It is.
that's a deep black rabbit hole to go down. Yes,
And it's one that you
it's
don't
not
just go
only
down
a
once.
rabbit hole, but
You
it's a
don't go
black
down it
hole as
once.
well.
Yeah, it's a black hole, rabbit hole. It's fine. And you don't. I just feel like these are not things that you just go down once and you think about one time.
I don't think so either.
It's something that unfolds and always to be circling back around. What makes you awestruck? You know, how can you trigger moments?
Don't
of awe
forget
in
that's
your
the
life?
homework, folks. What made you go wow this
And
week?
it could. I mean, literally, sometimes when I look at a fork, I'm like, wow.
It doesn't
This
matter
was
what
a
it is,
thought.
and it's
This
not like
started as a thought. Somebody had
yeah.
a thought, and then somebody else had a thought, and then it evolved into what I'm holding right now. And then, supply chain and how it actually got, and I bought it at the store, and like humans are amazing, and then also like we're also very like it's just all the things. Like I can have moments of just like, whoa. And that's completely sober, folks. Completely sober. I'm just saying, it's the best way to trip out. It's the lowest cost on your
Lowest
body, lowest
cost.
cost on your brain. Not that I'm against it. Take your mushrooms, Kurt. But those.
Great tripping flashbacks.
I've actually done the funny thing is I've actually done very few hallucinogenics, probably because I trip out without them. So, I mean, like some people like need that extra like boost to be like, what is breath? And I get there stone cold sober. Sometimes I need to actually go the other direction and turn that shit off because I have to
I hear
I have to
that.
get something done today. Can't just sit
Fun
around being like,
stuff.
whoa, the world is crazy, man.
Yeah, this is a great subject, and I think that this has been super productive.
Yeah, well,
Some
we're
stuff
coming up
coming
on.
out there.
Yeah, I've enjoyed hearing myself talk a lot this episode, I guess.
Hey, I talked most of the time last time, so
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's good.
So what goes
And
around comes around. No good deed goes unpunished.
that's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sayings. It really it takes me back. It's one of my favorite people said that. I heard that the first time from him, and I was like, wow, fair, fair. But what is punishment?
That was
really?
the crew that I hung with for many years. That's how we looked at it.
You got to fail it till you nail it is what you got to do. So.
Yes, we are rapidly approaching an hour. Should we call it?
I want to call it just based on Robbie's Keri tripping flashbacks comment because any comments after that are
that's a good place to leave it. Yeah, Keri tripping flashbacks. Yeah,
I think that's just
that sounds like it needs to be a song. I don't know.
Keri tripping flashbacks. I mean, I'll get right out on it. Yeah.
Well, it would be all satire because it's not true.
I know, right? It's not. But I will. We're coming to the end of what I have posted as far as upcoming lives. I will post upcoming lives for our Lisa Feldman Barrett deep dive into 7.5 lessons about your brain.
You can listen to it.
Yeah, if you can, find that book. If not, look in the descriptions of said upcoming live posts that I make, or maybe I'll stick them in the community.
Yep.
I'll figure out something.
She'll include them in that.
Yeah. I'll include some of those interviews in the links. She's done a lot of interviews out there. So you'll be able to get kind of familiar with her thoughts and theories and her background. It's all free on YouTube, a lot of those interviews. So if you can't get your hands on the book, even though I highly recommend trying to find the Audible, getting a hardcover, whatever it takes.
Whatever works for you.
If not, we'll walk you through it chapter by chapter, 2 chapters at a time, 2 lessons at a time
together
over this next month. And so,
and we'll call Keri teacher.
No, we will not. We will call Keri master or guru are the only titles I accept.
you say
Guru Keri
Messiah
has a
or
nice ring
Guru?
to it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So much stigma around both of those titles.
Just try to have. We just try to
poke
have
the
fun.
bear a little bit.
Just trying to have fun.
All right. Well, y'all, thank you for joining us. I appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you who watch the replay, I appreciate you as well. And wave goodbye to the fans, Richard.
I am waving goodbye to the fans.
It's cult adjacent, Chad. It's cult adjacent. We're here to learn together.
Yes,
All
we're
right.
here to learn together.
Let me pull up our ending screen here, and we will say adieu.
Thanks everybody for being here.
The night says hello with the soft glow. We took a ride on this talk show. Stories shared and secrets low. Time to linger, but we gotta go. Voices faded with the moon's call. Laughter echoed down the hall. Thoughts that flew like paper dolls. Wrap it up and let it fall. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. In the quiet, hear the clock tick tock. Words won't stop, but we'll walk the walk. Dream a little till the next talk. Out of time, let's unlock. Turn the volume down low, my friends. This chatter's come to an end. Till we gather again and again. Let these moments extend. With open minds, now we drift on the book of fine. Page by page until we bind sweet goodbyes. Let's